Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mindful Marathon Conversations. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Quirk. I'm a pediatrician and a run coach, and the founder of Mindful Marathon, where I help make running easy and fun for busy professionals. And today I have a very special guest with me. I have with me Dr. Marie Dona. She is a youth adult reproductive psychiatrist and therapist with a private practice in Riverview, Florida, and she is passionate about advocating for mental health and overall wellness. And I am very excited to welcome her to the show. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Dona.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about your story. We were chatting beforehand, but tell us a little bit about you and about your story.
Sure. So definitely. As you had mentioned, I'm a psychiatrist. I always kind of knew I wanted to go to medicine. My dad's a doctor, medical school, that type of thing. But when I realized I wanted to actually go into psychiatry was, just during my rotations in med school. So like I would always find myself like spending a lot of extra time with the patients, getting background history, etc. And yeah, everyone else was like, "Come on, hurry up! Like let's go." And I was like, "Oh no, but I want to hear all these things." And then when I was actually on my psychiatry rotation, I was like, okay, now this all makes sense and this kind of fits. And I haven't regretted my decision since then. And that I just really love getting to know people, know their stories, and figuring out ways that I can help them. And then, yeah, so med school, then did training and in Philadelphia. I did my adult psychiatry residency, and then I did subspecialty training in child and adolescence, and then other specializations in reproductive, like perinatal psychiatry and obesity medicine.
Okay, amazing, amazing. And you ended up in the warm state of Florida, but Philly misses you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely miss Philly. I want to visit there soon, but I was not happy with shoveling snow and like heating my car up. Like I had to do all of that for I was in Philly for like 7 years and
Mhm. We understand.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
tell us how has running shown up in your life, and maybe we can kind of take it exercise and running, and we'll go down a wellness path.
Yeah, sure. Well, running in particular has had actually a big impact on my life. So I will say, obviously, not a veteran runner by any means, but it was something that actually I did when I was younger. I was pretty overweight. Eating not healthy, wasn't engaging in physical activity, but then started eating better, and then I started incorporating more physical activity, and running was a big thing that like it was hard. Like I will say, even nowadays when I run, it's still hard, but it just made me feel good. And there's actual reasons behind it in that, like endorphin release and increasing neurotransmitters, all of that. But then I noticed that at a young age, and as much as I've gone through like my different seasons of life with exercise, running has been just something that I've done consistently from when I was a teenager
Mhm.
until now. And I find it incredibly healing, therapeutic. I was in Boston for college, so didn't actually do the Boston Marathon, but like was very excited about Boston Marathon, like did some bandit running. What I mean, not really supposed to be kind of doing that, but like it was something that I was really kind of passionate about for a long time. Then ebbs and flows, but it's something that even nowadays I've just found time in my life to still do pretty consistently, just because of how transformative and additive it has been for myself in terms of just like overall well-being.
Yeah, yeah. How do you think running and exercise, we recommend it, right, to our patients, and I recommend it to my families all the time. But maybe speaking to the people who are not avid exercisers out there, how can exercise help our wellness and our mental health?
Yeah, so huge advocate for exercise. There is just so much like evidence out there that exercise, running is so beneficial. So psychiatrists obviously dealing with, mental health issues, depression, anxiety, stress, etc. But like I was mentioning this a little bit earlier, but I feel like it all kind of goes down to basic human necessities, foundations like of what in general homeostasis like every human being needs. So nutrition, like trying to eat as well as you can, and then physical activity. So this is where with exercise, running, not only can it help with the physical aspects of it, like the medical concerns, etc., bone density, all of the above, but from my perspective, the mental health aspects of it, a lot of studies will show, just improved cognition, like helping with like synaptogenesis, like all of these things, like from a more like a biological, like a deeper level that people don't actually understand, like how big of an impact that exercise and running can have, but it's huge. And like people get intimidated with anything new. And I talk about this all the time with change. Like, so it's really hard to do something new or something that you aren't used to doing on a regular basis, like establishing a new habit. But this is where it can be something as simple as, okay, like I don't do any physical activity. Let me try once a week. I'm going to take a 30-minute walk and
Mhm.
then expand on there, because a lot of times people find that more feasible and like feasible for them to actually do. And then they'll find, oh, I did it once this week. Why not twice? Why not three times? Oh, I'm walking faster, let me try jogging. And then it just kind of snowballs from there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how I started running. Like, I was not always a runner until later on, like after residency. And I
Mm.
started, I just, yeah, I put on my shoes and I decided I was going to go around the block and I did like 5 or 10 minutes at a time. And I aimed for like 2 or 3 times a week and extended the time and then extended the days. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't take all that long to stick with a habit for it to become consistent. Maybe like two,
Mhm.
3 weeks of doing
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
regularly. So it feels like it's far away when you start, but that goes by really fast.
Yeah. I think honestly, it can be really daunting because people are thinking about, oh, like all these changes, all these things I have to do. But right, like it does take, you typically have it like within like 3 weeks, et cetera, to establish that. And this is where baby steps, right? I always tell people, like, okay, if everything, the big picture seems overwhelming, one step at a time. Like,
Mhm.
and even with walking, and my story with running is similar. Like, oh, let me try to get something in. Some steps turned into, okay, faster steps turned into et cetera from there. So,
Yep, yep.
yeah.
Um, Maybe, I will speak for myself and then also from the point of view of some of my runners, but I think a lot of us high achieving types maybe run on the anxious side. And I think
Mm.
running has very much medicated some mild anxiety, I would say. Not
Oh,
been
yeah.
diagnosed, but like I think
Mhm.
so. And I think that, when I've taken periods of time off of running, um, other activities just don't seem to have the same calming effect for me personally.
Mm.
But I notice the same with swimming. Like I love to swim, and I definitely get like a calming effect from that. But maybe can you speak to running and anxiety?
Yeah, so anxiety and running can be a basic, so psychiatrists prescribe medicines, but running can be a behavioral intervention to mitigate or manage anxiety. So that can happen multifold. So like the release of endorphins, like runner's high, everyone kind of knows what runner's high is, but it's an actual thing that running can release endorphins, like different neurotransmitters, norepinephrine, et cetera, et cetera. Also, it can actually increase serotonin levels. And the hypothesis behind anxiety and depression, mental health issues in general, is a deficiency in serotonin specifically, but running can actually increase these levels. So it's like almost like you're self-medicating yourself in a way, but really naturally through running or
Hmm.
exercise.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
and
I
like
love that.
and so I was mentioning to you too, like not like so understanding all this, like as a psychiatrist, and how like running can actually be beneficial, but like as much as I love doing it, on days where I'm just, yeah, even angry or like irritable or I need to get things out, I will go for a run, get it all out there, and even that will help kind of push me to run faster. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, okay, feeling pretty good now, like able to go on with the rest of my day. So I've just seen so many different benefits from running in general.
Yeah, yeah, and I think for me too, the regular exercise routine, having regular physical activity has helped my sleep. Like I'm
Mm,
definitely
yeah.
having a more regular schedule and getting to bed at a regular time. Dr. Funke out there is cheering in the background,
Mhm.
but I think that the exercise also helps the sleep. I'm sure there is something with the neurotransmitters there too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like circadian rhythm, like it helps kind of with sleep patterns, helping you actually get tired. Just because, so I'll have patients, so awareness of sleep, right? Like they don't move much during the
Mhm.
day, and then like, oh, having trouble sleeping at night, but it's probably because they're just not exerting enough energy for them to like physically start feeling tired at night versus like energy. Running obviously takes a lot of like physical activity and energy for you to put forth, and then your body is basically telling you, and this is where homeostasis, right? Listen to your bodies. It's telling you, okay, you've put in the work today. Let's get some rest, and to be ready
Mhm.
for the next day.
Would you have recommendations for those of us out there who maybe aren't as in tune with like what homeostasis feels like? Like how do you start to figure out what that is
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah, so I mean that can take some time, but honestly, like I'll tell people to track things, like
Okay.
and that could be anything from like how they're feeling on a day, like if they're feeling anxious or sad or down, or like whatever change they're trying to elicit in their life, right? Like, oh, I've been feeling run down and tired. Like, is it what I'm eating? Let me take a look at what I'm actually eating. Let me track that down. Is it because I'm not getting enough sleep at night? Let me actually sit down and take a look at how much sleep I'm getting. Am I drinking too much caffeine during the day? Am I taking too many naps that thus interfering with sleep hygiene? All of the above. And then I feel like your body will kind of start telling you, oh, like when you're looking for it specifically, oh, I'm feeling really run down, and I noticed I only slept 5 hours last night. Okay, that means I most likely need to sleep a little bit more. Or I've been eating a lot of fast food this week, like a lot of really greasy foods. Noticed that yeah, haven't been really preparing eating whole foods, and I'm feeling more bloated. Okay, that's my body's way of telling me maybe I need to try to incorporate more whole kind of more nutritious like additions to my
Mhm.
like lifestyle and what I'm trying to eat, and like trying to like pay attention to what you're doing or actually putting your body to see how it is actually affecting you.
Yeah, yeah, and I think for maybe the docs out there listening, I feel like for a lot of years we were ignoring a lot of the cues from our body in training.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
definitely been a process for me
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like tap into even just cues of hunger and thirst because we ignored a lot of those and also sleep. So it's a process for sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely take some time. I think just also in training too, you're basically kind of forced into it, right? Like you can't say, "Oh, I don't want to be on call. I don't want to work overnight." Like it's just
Yeah.
kind of something that within how training is structured nowadays just kind of tends to happen. But I think that this is where, okay, now that I'm in the time of my life where I can adequately assess myself and see what is actually going to be beneficial or helpful to me in, managing my life moving
Mhm.
forward, that's where paying attention, maybe jotting things down, could be beneficial on what potential adjustments you can make in your life that could be helpful or beneficial moving forward.
Yeah, yeah, and I think just maybe the main takeaway is small steps, right? And
Mhm, mhm.
and with
Yeah,
exercise, and then also with this and kind of journaling and figuring out what homeostasis feels like for you, but small steps forward. So it feels like it might be daunting, but it's a process, and it's taken me years for sure, and I'm still learning. So
yeah, yeah, definitely for me as well too. I feel like basically everyone in life is always trying to make adjustments, because right, nothing in life stays the same also.
nope.
So this is where change always happens, but the ability to kind of recognize, okay, these are things that are going on in my life is the first step. And I think honestly the hardest step to initiating change or to initiate whatever it is that you want to be different in your life moving forward.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's right. So, Dr. Dona, you have a practice in Florida, but you were also telling me you see patients virtually from other states. Can you tell us about your practice and what types of patients you see?
Yeah, sure. So, I am physically based in Riverview, Florida. So that's around the Tampa area, kind of Gulf Coast. I do have an office to see patients in person, but I will say most of my patients prefer virtual. So I am basically 99% virtual, but able to see people in person if needed. But I'm also licensed so throughout the state of Florida and New York, Pennsylvania, and Washington D.C. So I can see patients virtually through all of those states. And then for patients who see me, so psychiatrist, but like a lot of different like realms. So adult psychiatry, child adolescent psychiatry, reproductive perinatal psychiatry are my kind of main focus. But I love kind of seeing it all. And one thing I did want to mention, so I'm a psychiatrist prescribed medicines, but I'm a huge advocate for therapy, behavioral intervention. So I additionally not only do medicine management, but also will take on some patients to do like specific behavioral or psychotherapeutic interventions as well too.
I love that. I love that. And
Yeah.
it's wonderful that you can serve a lot of patients in different states. So thank you.
Yeah.
Can you
No
tell
problem. Yeah.
everyone where to find you? Do you have a website or social media handles?
Yeah. Yeah, so my website is www is Dona Wellness Clinic, Dona Wellness Clinic.com. And then my handles are facebook.com/slash Dona Wellness Clinic, Instagram.com/slash Dona Wellness Clinic. It's all the clinic name. Yeah.
Amazing. And I will put these links below for everybody too. It's easier to click. Well,
Okay.
thank
Sounds
you
great.
so much for joining us and sharing your knowledge and your story with us. We appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah, yeah. And thanks everybody for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. If you liked it, please subscribe and share it with a friend. And if you are a newer runner or a runner who hasn't run in a while and you're looking to get back into the sport, you can find out how to work with me over on my website, which is mindful-marathon.com. See you on the next episode.